All right, welcome everybody to tonight's call. This is call number 2 in our series of Reignite Your Fire. I am Love Carpenter, National Executive Director in North Carolina, and we are super excited to be partnered with all of these directors this week to really kick off 2021 with a bang. In this call series that we're doing together, we're really focusing on some of the foundation principles for our business. We're taking a look at the pillars that are the foundation to hold up your business. So I want you to think about a structure with 4 pillars holding it up. And I'm going to try to screen share here. Stacey, will I be able to screen share?
Yes, let me enable that 1 second.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm on screen share just to give you a visual. This will be a real quick visual, but I want you to think about, I think you can see that. I want you to think about a structure with 4 pillars holding it up, like that is the foundation of your business. So these are the 4 pillars that we're really focused on in this call series. So that kind of gives you a visual to be thinking about as we go through tonight. So the 4 pillars that we're looking at are last night we talked about the first pillar, which is belief and passion. And tonight we're talking about the second pillar, which is skill. And the next week we're going to look at habits, which kind of encompasses habits, systems, time management. And then also the will to get up and get it all done. So as a leader, you want to make sure that all of the pillars for your business are strong. And yes, we are constantly growing in all 4 of these areas. But if one of these areas is totally damaged, you've got to fix it. Like if your belief pillar is broken in yourself, the company, or any aspect of your business, that's where you've got to start. So last night, our 4 nationals did an amazing job kicking us off with belief and passion. So put in the chat just one of your biggest takeaways from last night in 1, 2, or 3 words. Put in the chat something that kind of encompasses the biggest takeaway that you had from last night. And let's see what you guys got and kind of believe. Absolutely. So put 1, 2, or 3 words in the chat that kind of talks about what you took away from that. We can do it to decide your word for the year. Belief is key. It comes from me. These are great. So keep doing that as you join in. You guys can look at what everybody else. Fearless. I love it. I love it. That is awesome. So in thinking about what we covered last night, sorry, I lost my notes. So let's screen share it. Okay. So building on our foundation of what we covered last night, tonight we're going to kind of move into the skill pillar. And I want you to think of what do you think about when you think about the skills in your business? And if you're like me, probably the first thing that comes to mind is those 5 core parts of our business, which is bookings, host coaching, recruiting, customer care, new consultant strong start, all of those things. And yes, those are vitally important skills for our business. But once you reach that director level, we need to take a look at some important skills to help you build your team. And I hear a lot of times, my team doesn't do this. My team doesn't do this. My team doesn't have this. My team this, my team that. I wish I knew how to motivate my team. Well, first of all, the team is a reflection of the leader. So ask yourself, are you setting the example that you want for your team? Do you have a strong personal business? We cannot ever expect our team to do more than we are doing as a leader. Do you have a strong foundation in those core skills I just mentioned before? That helps us build a strong personal business, but now we need to translate those things to our team. When you promote to director, you don't come with magical leader powers and just flip a switch and know how to do all the things. So we're going to spend some time tonight on the skills that are crucial to build a strong, successful team and growing an organization. And it's all about team culture, and specifically the culture of your team. So what is culture? Culture is a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterize your organization or your team. Again, culture is a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterize your organization or team. The culture is kind of what we do, what we say, the way we behave, and the way we treat each other. So I want you to think about 1 or 2 words or 3 words that describe the culture of your team today. And share some of those in the chat. Whatever comes to mind. What are 2 or 3 words that best describe the culture in your team today? And share some of those in the chat. Positive, yes. Stagnant, yes. Community, quiet, positive, a big family. All right, keep them coming. What words that discouraged, supportive, dead, diverse, positive, cheerleaders. All right. So now I want you to think about some of the cultures that you're naming are cultures that you're going to want to keep in your team moving forward. But I'm sure there's some of them that you're going to want to change in this coming year. So now I want you to think about 2 or 3 words that describe a culture that you would like to have in the coming year. Like, what is a culture that you want to make sure your team encompasses in the coming year, and share that in the chat. Energized, motivated, family, excited, positive, hardworking, engaged, growing, growth, fulfilled. Awesome. Yes, keep them coming. Okay. So creating a strong team culture will result in performers on your team who are committed not only to individual success, but to the overall success of the organization as a whole. And that's what we're going for. So how many of you would like to create a team culture of teamwork and monthly activity, fast-paced recruiting growth, and career plan advancement on your team in the coming year? These are 3 cultures that our company teaches, and each of these cultures build on each other. For example, you can't have fast-paced recruiting growth without having a culture of teamwork and monthly activity. You can't have a culture of career plan advancement on your team without first having a culture of fast-paced recruiting growth. So tonight we're going to take a closer look at these 3 cultures. It's important to know that culture is generally built slowly over time, not just with a quick decision. Being intentional in the things that you do to create team culture, rather than just letting it come together as it does, is important to creating the culture that you want on your team. And you can create any culture that you want to have on your team. So I'm going to give you a quick example of changing the culture by using a real life situation on my team in the past. So back in 2018, just 2 years ago, our team was no longer growing like we had in the past. We weren't moving in the direction that I wanted to move. And to be quite frank, we weren't really moving at all. We had been a cooking show team for so long, and we were trying to change over to the virtual world, but I wasn't really getting a lot of traction. Virtual consultants, I just wasn't getting them off to a strong start. And I was struggling with my own virtual business. And to be honest, we were just failing miserably at it. My qualification rate for new consultants had totally tanked. When there's a problem in the team, it's up to the leader to turn it around. So we won't even go into all the things that weren't working, but let's just take this one example. So when I got serious about moving us to a virtual team, I knew that the 2-party a week show schedule, 8 will make you great for the month, that I had always done with cooking shows, always built a great business. It just was not working starting out new consultants like this. So when I switched my thinking to 2 virtual parties for 1 cooking party, that changed everything. I changed my expectation for a number of shows, both for myself, for my new consultants, and for my current team members. I started teaching 4 parties a week, no matter what. Now, did I get pushed back on my team? Absolutely. Oh, yes. But I didn't let that stop me, because we were totally changing a culture, taking one culture that existed and trying to change to a completely different culture. And that's different than starting afresh with something new. So it was challenging. I started doing 4 parties a week myself. And who is the easiest person to change culture with? Well, that's new consultants, because they don't know any different. So that's where I started. Once I started having results with my 4 parties a week and having results with my new consultants, I started sharing with my personal team what was happening. And so slowly I did this with my personal team, my first generation directors, and then throughout the organization. So did it take a little while? Absolutely. It was a process, but I was moving from where we were to a vision that I had for our team. And there is nothing more powerful than leading by example and sharing the results. I was doing the 4 parties a week, and I was able to share that new consultants starting out in our team that were holding 4 parties a week were earning over $400 in their first week of parties. Taking that to my team, people then started to listen and started to say, I want to know how I can earn $400 a week. So that's a great way of how to start changing culture in your team. So just to give you an idea of how that played out, by sticking with that and continuing to teach the same thing over and over, that one tiny change in culture led to amazing things for our team. In 2018, our team held 3,000 team shows. In 2019, by changing that culture, we went from 3,000 team shows to 13,000 team shows in just 1 year. And just 1 year later, 29,000 team shows this past year. So close to 30,000 parties just in the difference of 2 years. So the first year that was an additional 10,000 parties, and the second year that was an additional 26,000 more parties held just by changing that one team culture. So if there's a behavior you want to change on your team, you absolutely can. And we want to equip you to create the culture of teamwork and activity, fast-paced recruiting growth, and career plan advancement on your teams. And tonight, Steve, Michaela, and Brittany are going to walk you through these three cultures. And Steve is going to kick us off with teamwork and activity.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our evening of training. So I'm going to kick this off. This is something I'm super passionate about. And honestly, our organization is really successful in this arena. So, but I want to be really honest because y'all know me as being 100% authentic and never any other way. I was in the same spot as many of you. Like, what are these three cultures? I want them to happen right away. I don't want to wait. I don't want it to develop. You know, I want it instantly, right? And as Love said, this is all of the things we're going to talk about is truly a process. Now, you can certainly accelerate the process, but it truly comes when you are intentional about doing all the things that we're going to kind of talk about tonight in these three arenas. So back in 2018, I decided I wanted to grow my team and promote leaders, but I wanted to be sure I had the tools and resources in place to help them be successful and feel supported once they were promoted. I kept making excuses for myself and insisting that these resources, you know, they had to be perfect and polished before I moved ahead and kind of unpacked them. And, you know, I really realized that this was silly, guys, and that growing a team and working with others to help them grow and build these cultures, it was not going to be a perfect, seamless process. And I'm super, super duper type A. I'm very anal retentive. And so this was a major struggle for me because I wanted whatever I was doing in any of these realms to be super like flawless and no holes in anything, right? And guys, this actually not only delayed my personal success and progress, but also the success of the directors and consultants that I have in my organization. I knew that I had to create systems for all aspects of my business to accomplish what I wanted. I was never a systems person. I know some of you probably don't like that word, and you're going to hear more about this on a later call. I didn't like being tethered to a way of doing things or following a plan or anything. But once I implemented them, everything began to change for our organization, right? I focused on making them duplicatable so that leaders I eventually promoted could easily acclimate and not feel overwhelmed to then teach their teams the same activities, right? The best practices. Your systems won't be my systems. They won't be the systems you hear about on a later call. And my systems, guys, are a combination of my own ideas and the ideas of others. So there's nothing wrong with seeing something somebody else is doing and using it and employing it and mirroring it, right? When you become, as Love always says, a student of the business and you take what other people say and apply it to what you want to accomplish, that's when the magic really happens in pairing that with your own ideas. So Love shared the three cultures that you want to work to create with your team. And I'm going to hit the area of teamwork and monthly activity. So you're going to hear this as a solid theme tonight from all of your speakers, but building teamwork and monthly activity and culture starts with you, okay? Your commitment to your personal business is the catalyst for your team members and leaders to take ownership of theirs. Real talk, I do 14 or more parties a week. Do I really love doing 14 parties a week? Not necessarily, but I know that when I set the tone from the top, my team sees that if he can do that, I can do one more party. I can ask one more person about the business. I can spend one more hour, you know, in my office kind of hustling, right? It started with me. We can always be setting a better example for our teams. Your own personal monthly activity and the activity of your personal team, if you have downline leaders, is what will drive your team members and leaders to aspire to have what you have. Real talk, if you want your leaders paid every month and your consultants to be active and be beyond active, you can't be submitting 750. You can't be submitting 750, okay? Whether you need the money or not, whether you're just doing this for fun, okay? And if you think you can, you're wrong. Working to minimums does not lead to sustained growth and development and momentum. So what does that look like? If you're an all virtual leader, you should aim to book 16 shows every month at a minimum, which is 4 a week. We are asking our new consultants to do 4 parties a week. So you 100% should be committing to doing 4 parties a week, okay? 3 to 4 of them normally maybe will cancel or they won't qualify. And if we're super conservative and assume that all those remaining 12 shows we hold will hit $200, which we know there'll be many more that have way more sales than that, then that leaves you around $2,500 in sales personally, right? Some will be more, some will be less, but just imagine, guys, if you have that many shows on your calendar and more of them overperform, right? You're going to be in front of that many more people to welcome to your Pampered Chef family, and your teamwork and monthly activity, once you get them onboarded strongly, is going to blow up and be exactly in the direction that you want it to, okay? But honestly, guys, my challenge to you would be to go for 5,000 on your own. When you do that, you are a motivator and not a manipulator. And that is not my phrase, that's somebody else's I've heard. When you are carrying the total 5,000 to be Director Green, right? Not Peter, your title necessarily, but Director Green, your team experiences Pampered Chef as a joy and not a job. Then they want to work. They want to show up. They want to be on team meetings. They want to talk to you on the regular, not just when you reach out and maybe say, are you going to be green this month? Or, are you going to hit that free-for-all level, et cetera, right? And like I said, we ask our consultants to do 4 parties a week. So if I were you, I would challenge you to do 8 parties a week, because then you're really going to be setting yourself up for great income, but also you're going to have so many more people that you're going to welcome into your family that are going to be submitting sales. And as we know, every amount that they submit and commit is adding to your overall teamwork and monthly activity for the month, okay? When you're submitting a minimum of $5,000 in sales each month as a leader, you are inspiring your team members to do more, be more, have more. This will also put you, like I said, in front of enough people so that you have a larger pool to share the opportunity with, and therefore move up the career plan. I know most of you want, exponential growth in 2021. My question would be, share it in the chat. You all know this because you are a part of successful organizations, but are you doing it? Drop it in the chat and be real. If you aren't, that's okay. Acknowledging it is a step in the right direction, right? In terms of recruiting, and you'll hear more about this, but your goal at a minimum should be to recruit at least 2 people every month. I try to re-promote myself pretty much every month with 5, but 2 is a good place to be, because for every 12 to 15 we talk to and share the opportunity with, 1 person will normally sign up. As I said, you set the tone from the top with your own personal business. Now, onto some other activities you want to make sure that you are doing and putting in front of your team that should be basic tenements of their own businesses related to their personal business to foster teamwork and monthly activity. Number 1, teaching them, your team members, to make 25 two-way contacts a week and helping them understand how to track them and how to follow up. The biggest mistake people make is they don't follow up. And oftentimes, you've probably heard this, the proof is not in the pudding until the 3rd, 4th, 5th time you actually follow up about anything with our business, customer care, bookings, recruiting, whatever, right? Employ the host booking challenge, the 3-party booking bonus, to book parties from parties, and teaching your team how to utilize it and give them the words to say and mention it often. I did a poll recently with my own organization, and I was shocked at how many of them didn't know what that was, right? And I preach that all the time. So sometimes we think they know that, but they might not. And what does it really matter if they get the initial bookings if they can't sustain and book from those parties, right? That is what will get someone in the door and have them stick around when they have more parties on their calendar. It's not those initial parties that they're excited about, it's the ones they can book from the ones that they have, okay? Set the time aside to identify and engage rockstar guests and provide language on how to engage with them. So offer on-the-job trainings, like via screenshots with your folks, okay? Challenge your personal team and or organization to be green by the 15th and recognizing them for it. We've moved to green by 10, and you want to incentivize it in some way based on your budget. Could be products, have whatever you want to offer. And then challenge your director team, if you have downline leaders, to be director green by 15. We've moved to 10 and incentivize them for it based on your budget or products or whatever you want to do. Now onto some other activities you want to make sure that you're doing that should be basic tenements of their own businesses related to recruiting, right? To foster teamwork and monthly activity. Scheduling the time to ask every host 5 times, directly, indirectly. For your team or organization, consider offering basic boot camps quarterly, focused in the basic tenements of the business. Be sure to add different elements of training that include booking, host coaching, recruiting that anybody can pop into. Offer opportunity events at least twice a month, and schedule intentional time for 3-way message chats with potential leads. And other activities for recruiting tied to teamwork and monthly activity might also include incentivizing people for doing so with challenges or gift cards or products. the just ask kind of challenge or go for the no activity you could do, inviting people to train on their success at future meetings, posting on their wall, or just sharing, share the love or kind of challenge that you could do as well. To summarize, ultimately, when it comes down to teamwork and monthly activity, it begins with you to create the possibility of what they can have through your performance. And then once they are inspired, the supporting activities follow to create that culture. So a couple quick ideas, simple idea to do is, if you have a personal team page, or maybe you're a director and you don't have a downline leader yet, you want to make sure you have a banner in your group page for your organization or team where you are changing a team member's star to green every time they go active. I can't tell you the number of people that say like so-and-so goes green and they instantly will message the leader to say, I'm green, changing my star, right? People love that recognition. I know my organization was built on that. And also, we've done challenges in the past where it's like a race to go green by the 15th, where the sooner they go green in the month, they get entered to win, more tickets to win something that might give away, a gift card or something. So there are all these different kind of ideas that you can employ to really start to build the culture of teamwork and monthly. So now I'm gonna pitch it over to Michaela with recruiting.
Hey guys, I'm back. The wackadoodle's back. So I am going to share with you guys tonight my success in recruiting and how I got to where I am. But first, in order for you guys to kind of understand where and how I got to this place, I want to share my story a little bit. So my husband and I, and some of you guys have already heard this, so I apologize, but a lot of you haven't. So my husband and I have been married for 9 years, almost 10, and we dated for 8. And in those years of marriage, we have been trying to have children. And like you heard last night, we have gone through our struggles and we are finally now adopting. But through those years, I was super hard on myself. I didn't really do a whole lot that I felt like I was super successful at. I worked these jobs. I went to school as a massage therapist, but my husband played professional baseball, and so I traveled with him. And I just never felt like I could amount to really anything. I was just following him and what he wanted to do. And not that he ever asked me to do that, but in a marriage, you want to follow him. And there's a lot of women who didn't follow their husbands because it was just so hard. You're on the road all the time and you're in different places, and it just was really hard. And so as I was, growing in my marriage and still not having kids, because that was the number one thing that I wanted to do, it just got harder and harder on my mental state. And in 2019, it was one of the worst years for me because we had been at that time been trying for 8.5 years. And my whole adult life, I had told myself, if I could just have a baby by the time that I was 32, I would be successful. And the reason why I said that is because my mom, she had me at 32 and I was her last child. And so I set that bar high, and I don't know why I did that. I told myself that that's the only way that I would be successful, and how sad that is. And so as I turned 32 and still didn't have a child, it was, you can imagine, one of the hardest things that I went through. And I put that on myself. I don't know why I did that, but I did that. And so I turned 32 and still no baby. And that was in July of 2019. And I started Pampered Chef October of 2019. I was at my sister-in-law's house, and she was hosting a party for Brittany. And I am very competitive. I got involved in the games. I wanted to be that person that was just winning all the games. I text Brittany. I didn't even know her at that time. And I was like, hey, what's the answers? I need the answers right now. And I was one of those people, one of those guests. And Brittany, reached out to me and asked if I would want to host a party. And I said no. I was a little hesitant. I kind of was just like, it's, maybe not. It's just not really for me, because I had done other MLMs, I've done other direct sales, and nothing really stuck, nothing really worked. And long story short, she ended up getting me to sign up. I thought that it was really intriguing what she was doing. I'd never seen at the time what she was doing, all those games and everything like that. And so I thought it was really intriguing. But I never thought that I would ever do something like this. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that faith that I was good enough to do something like that. I created these stories that, I was going to fail. It would be another thing that I would fail at. And I would have to tell my husband, look, like, I didn't do it. And I wasn't in a place where I felt like I could fail at anything else, because the one thing that I wanted in life, which was to be a mom, I couldn't be. And so I set those things in my head, and I let the adversary get to me and tell me that, I was going to fail and this wasn't going to work. And I remember, Brittany, being the leader that she is, she told me, like, just try to have 4 parties. That's all I'm going to ask. Just try it out, see what you can do. And then, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You got a kit out of it, the famous words. And so at that time, I was like, well, we need some new kitchen product. We've had ours for 9 years from our wedding, and I was ready to get some new stuff. And I was like, if anything, at least we have some new kitchen products. And so I did my first parties, and they were very successful. And that first check from those parties was $1,058. And I remember looking at my husband and being like, what the heck did I just do? And because I'm competitive, I went one step further. And then, a month later, I had advanced to an advanced director, skipped over director. And in 2 months, I had earned the Disney trip. I signed in October. And as we know, you have a full year to make it for those trips, and I did it in 2 months. And I didn't even know. Brittany's the one who messaged me and is like, did you know that you are basically going to get this trip? And I was like, what? Because I'm not a numbers person, and Brittany's really good at letting us know where we stand. And so that happened, but I still was in disbelief. I still was trying somehow to backpedal and say, I don't want to be a pushy person. I don't want to be embarrassed, and I'm just going to fail at this. And I just kept saying that for some reason, but it's because, my whole life I felt like I was a failure, even though no one told me that. I just kept thinking that in my head because I didn't have kids yet. And so I want to ask you guys, with that being said, I want you guys to raise your hand on who likes to be embarrassed. Do any of you guys like to be embarrassed? No, you don't. I would be really shocked if you guys raised your hand. But the thing is that the thing that I learned real quick is that I believe, in my opinion, it's okay to be embarrassed. Being embarrassed is a good thing. And yeah, it sucks. Do we want to be embarrassed? No, we don't. But that is how you grow. And in my org and in other orgs, they know me as the overcoming objection queen, because I learned real fast that the only way that I could make a difference in this life, which I wanted to do, but I set this standard that the only way that I would do that is to be a mother. The only way that I could do that is by overcoming objection and getting out of my comfort zone and being embarrassed. It's okay to be embarrassed sometimes, because that means that you are growing. You are outgrowing yourself, and you're getting over your damn self, just like that book. That is something that I wasn't good at in the beginning, but I learned that I needed to. And I am someone who, my husband and I mean, my husband was a professional athlete. We are not, we don't do the participation trophies. We don't believe in that. You might, but we don't, because I believe that if you have to study something and you have to work for it and you have to dig deep, and then you get that trophy because you earned it, you're going to appreciate that so much more than being handed it. And instead of your leaders handing it to you and doing the work for you, when you have to dig deep and do the hard work that some of us don't want to do, you're going to appreciate that so much more. And in this business, I've learned that in order for me to succeed and get to the top level, which was not my expectation, that is not what I was shooting for. I had no idea that I could make it. I didn't even know that I made advanced director. Brittany's the one who told me. But because I'm competitive and because I wanted to be something and do something with my life, and I wasn't going to be a mom, I couldn't see it. I needed something, and I was at my turning point because 2019 was the worst year of my life. I was on a down world spiral. And I just got to a point where I had to figure out what I was going to do. And so this business, when I started to see my success and I started to feel confident in myself and started to have people that were these head honchos in the company say, you know, wow, like you are doing something, you're changing lives. And to hear the success stories. I have a person on my team that said, you know, she had been married for 25 years and then never bought herself a mattress. And she was finally able to go and buy herself a mattress and pay all of her bills for that month. Those are the success stories that I thrive for. Those are the reasons why I do this business and I dig deep on those hard days. Those are the reasons why I don't care if someone says no to me. Because even though it's really hard in the time being of us having to ask, you know, hey, will you do a party for me? Or blah, 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 blah. No, no, no. You hear it over and over and over again. Even though you hear that, still, when you get that yes, it's such a huge victory. And so I've had so many success stories where, you know, people say no to me. And all I do, you guys, this is what I do. Is I'll show you, I'm going to show you an example of what I do, but I just say, hey, that's okay. I totally understand, but do you have any concerns with hosting a party? That's it. Do you have any concerns? Because it's our job to be educators. It's our job to get them to understand, because at first they're not going to understand. They don't know our business. They don't know the trips that they can earn. They don't know the avenues that they can take this. They don't know the confidence that will be built inside them when they have a success story like the mattress. They don't know that. So it's our job to overcome that objection and just ask the simple questions or just follow up, for goodness sakes. If you're leaving those no's, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, if you're leaving those no's on the table, then I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You cannot be afraid to be embarrassed. You can't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and ask that question. It takes 5 seconds to ask the question. And most of these people, we are never going to meet unless they sign up. So why is it so, and my team and my poor team, they've heard this over and over again, but why is it so easy for us to follow a boss? And I was a paralegal. I did hard stuff. I had to tell people no, that they got denied over and over and over again. I didn't have a glamorous job. I didn't have this job that I loved. And why is it so easy for us to do these things for other people, but we can't do the hard stuff for ourselves that are eventually going to bring us money and bring us, you know, peace and be able to go on these trips and help people? Why is it so easy for us to do things for other people, but not for ourselves? And that's what I have to ask you guys. And that's what I asked last night. If you're not willing to do the overcoming objection, if you're not willing to follow up, then you have to ask yourself, what's the alternative? You know, you're going to go back to that job and you're going to hate it, and you're going to, you know, hate your boss and hate your life. And, but if you do this and you overcome that objection and you just get over yourself and get out of your way, then you can rise to the top and you can be here. And that's what I had to do. I wasn't willing to stay down here any longer. I was so sick and tired of just, year after year, not becoming a mom and not being successful and just kind of just being numb to the world and not really doing what I knew that I was capable of doing. I am a lover. I am I want to make a difference. I want to be the change. I really do. And I knew that I could do something. I just didn't know how. And so, a lot of people will ask me, how in the world did you do it so fast? And the number one thing, I told you guys steps yesterday, but the number one thing that I can really honestly think about is just being true to yourself. And you're going to learn, I think it's the next call is on systems. Am I right? The next one's systems. Okay. You're going to learn these systems that, these other nationals have done. But something that I have taken, because we all do things differently. Ellington does, and I know a lot of other leaders, they do the 5-step system in asking. And that's what works for her. That's what works for a lot of leaders. But I had to break it down and I had to think, is this true to myself? Am I being the most authentic person that I can be? Do I feel comfortable asking someone 5 times if they will sign up and they will, be a consultant? And for me, I tried it and it didn't work for me. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And so I broke it down and I do it 3 times. And sometimes I will just do it 1 time. There's some leaders in here that are probably being like, what the heck? But that's what works for me. That's what I felt comfortable in doing. And so when I ask people, I try and attempt it the first time and just before the party starts. But if it doesn't work that time, then I'll ask them at the end. And this is what I say. Hey, you were a rock star host. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? And I voice text it. I'm not texting it. I voice text a lot of things. When I have someone who's going to host for me, I voice text so that they can hear my voice. Because I think that when you can be your authentic self and you're not treating people like numbers, then you're going to have a lot more success. And it's that simple. And I recruit a lot. In October, I didn't recruit in November, December because I wanted to focus on the leaders that I just recruited. But in October, I recruited 8 people. And I do that on a consistent basis. But I do believe that it's because I'm true and authentic to myself. I want to help people. I have someone on my team that she said no 10 times to me. I wouldn't suggest that you keep going 10 times because we're friends, and I felt comfortable, just kind of teasing her and just, kind of planting those little seeds, but it's important. And now she's a senior director. She said no 10 times because she didn't believe in herself. And I knew better than her. I knew that she would be successful because she was so good in the kitchen. She's an amazing cook and she's just an amazing person and good with people. And so I kept going. I just kept asking. I believed in her. I believed in the system. And so I wasn't willing to stop there. And now she's super successful and she's a senior director. And, had I not kept going, if Brittany wouldn't have kept going on me, I wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't be able to stay at home and adopt this little girl because I would be at work. And so think of the things that, are most important. Those no's don't mean that they don't want to do the business or they don't want to host. It's because they have that fear in themselves that they're going to fail. So it's our job to educate them so that they know and they believe in themselves. Hey, this is really easy. It's really not that hard. So with all that said, I am going to share my screen and hopefully this works. Stacy, am I a host? I don't know if.
You shouldn't need to be a host. You should just be able to hit screen share.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see. All right, so can you guys see that? Can you see my, okay, I see Brittany shaking her head. Okay, so this is a conversation that I had with someone who told me no, and it was for her birthday. This is what I do. This is, you guys can screenshot this, but this is some verbiage that I use. I every month I go down into events and then birthdays, and I send out this message for anyone that has, you know, upcoming birthday. So you can see, you know, hey friend, how are you? I noticed it was your birthday coming up, and I just asked her to, you know, have a party. If you want to screenshot that, you can. And then I finish it with just, you know, would you be willing to let me pamper you? Also, your orders will ship in 5 days, so you can get your goodies before Christmas. It's an awesome way to get free stocking stuffers. And then she, you know, and then she didn't respond. So I said, hey friend, just following up. Any thoughts? That is key, you guys, because a lot of people just get busy. We get busy. So don't be afraid to, you know, even if you have to be embarrassed, just follow up. And she said, hey, Michaela, thank you for reaching out, but I'm going to have to pass. I said, okay, thanks for getting back to me. Just curious, do you have any concerns on hosting an online party? It helps me to teach my team. So I say that because it kind of gets me out of that. A lot of people don't want to, you know, ask. It's really hard and they don't want to, you know, seem pushy. But if you just say that it's a teaching opportunity, you know, it kind of like is an scapegoat for you. It kind of makes you feel a little bit better, like there's a reason behind it. She said, no, not at all. I had like 3 to 4 close friends host PC online parties recently, and I don't think my friends would want to be invited to another one so soon. I said, gotcha. So the way I do my parties is a little different. Not that this will change your mind, but I had some of the same thoughts as you did when I hosted. So you're educating them and you're validating their concern, but you're also educating them. And I am so glad I bit the bullet because I got over $380 in free product at my party. But I have you invite not just your close friends and family, but everyone, because you would be surprised at how many of your friends on Facebook are needing gifts for the holidays or needing replacements for their items or just want the new product. Then we play games. This is huge. Then we play games for your friends to invite their friends for the chances to win prizes. Because you guys, you have to understand, a lot of people are afraid that their friends aren't going to interact. They're not going to buy. So if they know that they have the chance, their friends can invite their friends, then it's not so much pressure on them. So that's why I always say that. It's theirs as well that are already, I have no idea. Most hosts have these same thoughts, blah, 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 blah. You can screenshot all of that. Anyway, so she ends up saying, sure, we could do it in January. And if I wouldn't have said, you know, if I wouldn't have just asked that, you know, do you have concerns, then I wouldn't have gotten her as, you know, a party in January. And there's many different things. I'll share one more, and then Brittany, I'm going to pass it on to you. But I think that it's super important. Let me see if I can do this. I was going to have it up here. Maybe it won't work. Oh, there we go. I am not tech savvy, you guys. Let's see here. Okay. So really quick, I'll read one more and you guys can screenshot. I said, hey, Peja, I just wanted to see if you were still interested in hosting a party. She said, hi there. No, I think I'll pass, but thank you. If I would have left it at that, then she wouldn't have been a recruit of mine. I got her to sign up. I said, I pray this doesn't sound pushy, but did you have any concerns with hosting? I only ask because the hosts who were super hesitant, thinking they would have to spend a ton of time or their friends wouldn't order, end up always telling me that they are so glad that they did. Because they were able to stock their kitchen with free product and I do all the work throughout the party. You would spend 5 minutes, if that, a day, and I won't pressure you at the end to sign up. And you don't have to spend a dime of your own money to host. It's more like me pampering you. I promise you, you won't regret it. And we play games where your friends can win prizes if they invite their friends. Plus you get to choose a $30 item from me just for hosting. So that was a deal that I did. She said, honestly, I'm in school full time for myself, my kids, and my husband is gone most of the time. I just don't have time to upkeep. Well, with seeing your post, I'll think about it more. And then I just, went on and just kind of, educated her. And she said, okay, we can go ahead and do it. You convinced me. Laugh out loud. I said, I promise you won't regret it. And the reason why I said, a lot of you that will think back that I said, you know, I promise you I won't ask you at the end to be a consultant, is because I knew with her that I was going to ask her in the beginning. And I did not want to pressure her because we had already had like an inside conversation. So with that, you have to be able to kind of think outside the box and kind of get to know who you're talking to. And the way that you can do that is by getting to know them throughout the party. So the secret is you want people to message you. You want them to message you so you don't have to add them as a friend. And in the party, you're creating a rapport with them so that you can get to know them, so that way you can have these conversations with them, and that way you feel comfortable and you can send the little emojis and everything like that. But the reason why I was able to do that is because I got out of my comfort zone, and I was okay if I was going to be embarrassed, because that was a, you know, maybe 5-minute conversation. I never knew Peja before this. And with that, because she had a party that was successful, she ended up signing up. So it's just getting out of that comfort zone, just asking the quick question. And because really, you guys, at the end of the day, just keep asking yourself, what's the alternative? And that's really all I have to share with you. I'm going to pass it over to Brittany, and she is going to share with you guys on how she is so super successful on developing leaders. So, because she's the champ at it. So Britt, you take it away.
Thank you, Michaela. And I just wanted to say thank you to all the amazing nationals that invited me to be a part of this amazing series. I'm super excited. And for those that don't know, I'm Brittany Sunday. I'm a National Executive Director from Oklahoma.
Hey, Brittany. Hey, I'm going to interrupt 1 second. Michaela, can you stop your screen share now? Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're good. Okay. All right. So before we hop into developing leaders, I want to touch on briefly just onboarding new consultants, because before we develop leaders, we have to onboard new consultants and then recruit, right? So once you have recruited a new consultant, you want to set up a call with them within 24 hours. And I know that you guys already probably have your own thing with onboarding new consultants, but I just want to touch on a few things because I promise it will all tie in together. But once you've contacted them within the first 24 hours, you must build the relationship with a new consultant right away. Get to know more about your new consultant. You want to learn about who they are, what they love to do, and why they joined. And in a perfect world, what are they hoping to get from Pampered Chef? The relationship building is one of the most crucial parts with onboarding a new consultant. As we all know, people join for many reasons, but at the end of the day, they stay because of the relationships that they have built with the others. Next, I really want to encourage you guys that you're pushing new consultants to use Dash. As we know, Dash has many amazing tasks, trainings, and resources. So you want to make sure that you are sharing that with all consultants. Next, you want to share your story with them. That will help inspire them. Yes, we know that everyone's story is going to be different, but it's important we share it because you are painting that picture for them and creating that desire where they want to have a successful business. Then you want to set the expectations with them. And this is a key factor to having a successful business. Setting the expectation right out of the gate with 4 parties every single week, no matter what. We want to stress this to all consultants. We have the roadmap planned out for them. They just have to trust the process and follow your lead as a leader. The most successful consultants in the business do 4 parties every single week. New consultants who do 4 parties per week are earning bigger paychecks, more trip points, recruiting at higher numbers, and achieving those fast track rewards. One of the most valuable things a new consultant can do is adding team members right away. And our job as the leader is not to only set that expectation, but to help them with this. You want to have them write down their top 5 people that they would love to have on their team. This is a very important part of onboarding new consultants. We know our number one hesitation for new consultants is recruiting, just like even for us, like Michaela was talking about. But as leaders, we want to help build that confidence with them with reaching out right away. The reason being is our hosts are our number one potential lead for us. Making sure new consultants are set up with what to say when planting the seeds to the host is crucial. The sooner they start sharing that opportunity about the business, the sooner they will begin to grow a team. Remember, we are teaching them to work smarter, not harder. And you'll probably hear me say that a lot because Ellington has preached it to me and I preach it to my team. So you want to remember that setting those expectations with the new consultants right from the very start. And remember, they only know what you tell them and how you teach them as a leader. Once you've set those expectations, you want to motivate them with the fast track rewards. It is my belief that creating the excitement with a sense of urgency for the fast track rewards is very important. And these are only offered the first 90 days of the business. You want to make a really big deal about these rewards too, especially the cash rewards for recruiting. Create that excitement, and as leaders will provide them with the information, the trainings, the support, the encouragement, every step of the way. Let them know where to find their 30-day and their 90-day dates in Consultants Corner. Have them write them down big on a calendar where they are reminded the deadline to meet those goals. You don't want to forget about the fast track bonuses for fast track director and fast track advanced director. We always tell new consultants about these bonuses on the new consultant training. And why is that? Several people are motivated by cash bonuses. Who wouldn't want to earn free product, extra cash? And ultimately, our goal as leaders is to promote leaders, right? So we always want to share so we can continue to grow our teams. So that's just a little bit about onboarding. And then developing leaders, as far as that, in our organization, we really push developing fast track leaders from the start. So that's why I kind of went briefly over onboarding, because we're letting them know about that right from the start. That's why it starts with onboarding them correctly, and you're instilling that belief in them and helping them get set up with the verbiage and the tools they need for a successful start. Now, one thing I want to really stress about too, if you know that a host is going to sign during her party, but it's already been past the date that you allow her to flip, go ahead and send them or him that verbiage to get bookings. Don't wait for their party to close. So that's what I do right out of the gate. If I know 100% sure they are signing up, I'm sending them the verbiage because I want them to get 4 bookings for that very next week. You also want to help them understand what that means for them and not for you developing a leader. You don't want to have it come off like it's about you, because really it isn't about us at all. This is about us helping others reach their goal and promoting to a leader. We are there to help them and support them. Just like I said earlier, you must create that desire and paint the bigger picture for them with promoting. That way they can go and chase it. This is about us helping others. Oh, sorry, I lost my spot. Let's see here. Okay, so they can go chase it. For me personally, I was motivated by that $500 cash bonus whenever I promoted to a fast track director, but it wasn't just for me, it was for my family. Like I shared before earlier about the Fast Track Rewards program for new consultants, you must use the Fast Track Director and the Fast Track Advanced Director program to your advantage as a leader. You want to consistently talk about the program with the new consultants. You want to focus on this program and make it a really big deal, create that sense of urgency. You only have 90 days to cash in on these Fast Track Director program and the 6 months on the Fast Track Advanced Director. As the leader, we have the roadmap to share to get them there, and we will provide them with all the support and training, but they need, and we can help them make it happen. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to put in the work to actually make it happen and work. They will get to take advantage of all the benefits, especially the cash, when they follow the plan. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, all of us are directors and above on this call. So I know that our ultimate goal is to promote leaders, but honestly, it should be us promoting an upper level as well. So I'm going to ask you, why not you and why not now? I also want you guys to comment in the chat and let me know what your goal is for your promotion, whether it be advanced director, senior director. And then this is a little bit more tricky. I want you to comment in the chat. So whatever your goal is, if it's a national executive director or a senior director, how many personal leaders do you need to personally recruit this month? And I want you to put that in the goal, your goal in the chat as well. And I'm going to really encourage you guys too, to reach out to your upline and let them know about these goals. You guys, we're coming into 2021 and we need to make sure that our goals are already written down. You don't want to wait until January gets here. It's going to be here on Friday. So you guys need to write your goals down now and go for them. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's ultimately all of our goal on this call to promote leaders. We as leaders, we don't get to pick and choose who gets to be a successful consultant. As leaders, it is our job to give everyone that opportunity, even the kidnappers. Give them the same amount of attention that you give a new recruit who you know that wants to work the business. I say this because I've recruited plenty of kidnappers. I've always given them the same opportunity as everyone else. Here's just a quick example. Corey Ellis on my team, she was a part of her sister-in-law's party earlier this spring. She wanted the kit. She had been a consultant years ago, but I reached out to her because I finally got her to sign. Like I said, she was going to be a kidnapper. I later found out she was in the grocery store while I called her. It literally took me 5 minutes to welcome her to the team. I told her about how we run parties, about the fast track rewards, and I let her know I would be inviting her to a new consultant training. Later on, I found out that Corey told me that she is a carrot chaser. So when I dangled that carrot in front of her and told her about those fast track rewards programs, she went for it. Look at where she's at now. She went from a consultant signing in late March to an executive director in 5 months. I'm sharing this to tell you to always share the opportunity with every single recruit. These next two things that I'm going to share are what I preach and stress to everyone. 4 parties every single week, no matter what. This puts the consultant in a great position to recruit because they are in front of enough people each week. I am a competitive person, so when Ellington told me to do 4 parties, I did 6 the very first week. I didn't want to work at a minimum. Make sure that you really pay close attention to your aspiring leaders' bookings. It is very important to check in with your personal team as well. They are a part of your PC family, and you want to make sure that they feel like that and not just a number to your team. The next is every 4, you want to add 1 more. You must really stress this to your team. This is how you want to work your business from the very start, offering the opportunity to at least 5 people from the beginning. Sure, we all know that it's really uncomfortable, just like Michaela said in the beginning, but the more we do it, the easier it gets. I like to tell my team, and I constantly have to remind myself, the worst thing they can do is tell you no, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to say yes, but don't give up the first time, just like Michaela mentioned in the recruiting training. These are things that I personally look for when developing leaders in my personal team. If they have 4 plus bookings every single week, I give my consultants the verbiage to start with right away, just like I mentioned when I was onboarding them. And I also give them dates to choose from in their parties. And I challenge them when they complete those 4 bookings per week to add 2 more per week. And the reason why I do that is because whenever our goal is recruiting, right? So whenever they go to flip a party or they recruit, if they have 6 parties set up, then it just goes down. Hopefully, if they're flipping 2 parties, then they still have that 4 at the minimum for, every single week. I look at to see if they're attending the new consultant trainings. And I like to attend the new consultant trainings, even if I don't have team members, new recruits on it, because it shows my support, because I love to connect with other people that are even outside of my organization. I also look to make sure to see who's attending org trainings, because then you know who's going to really take it seriously. If they have potential recruits, remember, like I said earlier, they were going to reach out to their first top 5 friends and family. Those are usually the first 5 that they reach out to, and typically those are the people that will sign as their first recruits. Next, I want to stress to all of you guys tonight, we teach our teams to follow up with messages that they send for bookings and recruitings. And I want to say that the fortune is in the follow-up with developing leaders too. You have to stay on top of them and work with them from start to finish. It takes a lot of dedication on both ends, but let me tell you, it is totally worth it. Hard work pays off for everyone. I am constantly checking in with my aspiring leaders until they are probably tired of hearing from me, honestly. But I love to build those relationships from the very beginning. They have a goal to promote, so when they are thinking about giving up, throwing in the towel, or they doubt themselves, you can instill that belief in them and remind them why they are working for this promotion. I'm sure most of everyone on this call was a part of a director bound program. The system and the plan is there already. Take advantage of it and use it for you and your team members. Work together, like I said, as a team. That's one thing that I have done from the very beginning, and I'm so thankful Ellington hasn't kicked me out yet. Even at a national level, we work super close together, not just her and I, but Michaela and Becca and Ellington and I, all of our orgs that we work together, whether it's booking blitzes. Some of us do our own director bound program together. And it just creates so much more excitement than you working by yourself. So I encourage you to be a part of the director bound programs that your teams have already in place. And you must use these amazing programs to your advantage as the leader. So that's all I have tonight. So I'm actually going to turn it back over to Love, and she's going to finish out the call for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Brittany. You guys did an amazing job, and we have questions. So I know we are right at our time, but we have a couple questions. I know one of the questions in the chat was asking Steve to recap his recap the activity, and he did put that in the chat. So if you didn't catch that, his list of monthly activities, so that's in the chat. One of the other questions, Michaela, I got some of these. I called a couple in the chat, and then if you have a question, just hang tight and we'll see if we have time to take it. But one of the questions was for Michaela. What games are you doing for their friends to earn prizes in the parties? I think you know what they're asking.
Yeah, I responded back. I should have done it for everyone, but so I basically just, there's like a little picture that says, it's not really like a game, it's just, if you invite your friends, then you get 10 tickets towards the grand prize. So I just really expound on that, and I tag all the guests in that picture or that post. So it's not really like a game, but I do it multiple times. So that way, like, they continually, invite their friends, and the host can see that, they're, people are saying, oh, I invited 5, or, oh, if someone says I invited 30, then I say, girl, you need to have a party, like, or, you guys need to have a party. Like, this is crazy that you have this many friends that you invited. Why not, you get the free product? And so that's another way that you can kind of spin it. And so.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michaela. And one of the other questions, and Steve, I know what you do, so I know this would be a great one for you to answer. One of the other questions was, what if your new consultants tell you that when you're talking about the 4 parties a week, that they only want to do a few parties a month, or that they would rather try just 1 or 2 parties till they get the hang of it? How do you handle that? Steve, you want to take that? Because I know how you.
Yeah, so I'll pretend as if like you're a person that just told me that, right? So the way that I start all my onboarding calls is I say, I don't know if you've been involved with other direct sales companies before, but sometimes direct sales can get a bad rap because sometimes people in my position depend on their team members to keep them at their level. And I just want you to know that your investment is taken seriously by me, because I don't know if you were in a position to make that investment, or I don't know how what brought you to decide to sign up, but please know that this is all about you. It has nothing to do with me. And so everything I'm going to go over and teach you is for your benefit, because I believe that you can be successful. Then if they tell me the 1 to 2 parties or whatever, and not 4, then I would say, Love, I totally hear you, but I would be remiss if I didn't help you make as much money as possible in your first month. And, if you decide that after, we go ahead and rock that 4 parties a week for this month, that you don't love that fat paycheck in your pocket, then we can certainly scale back and do that one, have that fun money. But it's my job to show you the potential that you may not see for yourself. Would you be willing to partner with me, right? Because it's something I'm really passionate about, and I want people to be successful. That's what I would say. The way I look at it is, they don't know what they don't know, and overcoming an objection is the same as when someone tells you that as it is when you're having a recruiting conversation, or if somebody says no about a booking. You know better. You, as the consultant, as the leader, you know better. And if you go in it like that, whether you're faking it to make it or not, and maybe you don't feel as confident in your delivery, they aren't going to know the difference, right? They're going to lead. They're going to go with your foremost thoughts as a new consultant in that situation. I have found.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Is there any other questions? I had tried to catch what was coming into the chat. Anybody else have a question? Michaela, they're asking, several people asked this, how do you tag everyone in the party in a post if you're not friends with them?
So I just learned this from Kelly Gore. I don't even know if she's on the line, but the way that I did it, I was doing it the hard way. So I would literally just go into the post that I wanted. So I do this. I have, now that I have an assistant, I have her go in and any post that I want people to actually see, because most of us know, you should know that, if people aren't going to the notifications and pushing see all posts, then they're not going to see all the posts. So it's our job to make them see it, which there's several ways of doing that. But I just go into the post and I do the @A, and then it brings up all the names of, people that are in the party, and make sure that you're selecting the members and not others, because the others are not in the party. But you'll do @A and then @B and select all the B names, and then @C, and then work yourself through the alphabet. That's kind of the hard way. Kelly Gore does something different. Kelly, are you on the line? I don't know if she is. She was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm here.
Kelly, you want to quickly share with them what you do with the Visily? I don't know if it's going to be too much, but your way was a lot easier, I feel like.
When I post it, I don't post to my business page if it's something I'm going to tag them in the game. If I want them to message me personally, it depends on how you're messaging. So I'll post as myself. So then that way I can go in and edit the post and I can tag everybody as myself. So I can go straight from that. If it posts from Visily as me, not my business page, then I can go in and edit it and then go in and tag everyone right then. Using the @A, tag all the A's, @B, that kind of stuff. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Is there any other questions? I was trying to look in the chat, but I don't see any more. Anybody else have a question before we close out? For Brittany, Michaela, Stephen, or myself? All right. Well, guys, we are ready to start the new year in 2021. We have 2 calls coming next week, same time. I saw there was some confusion about the time, and I know with all the different time zones. So it is the same time, 8:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Central time, next Tuesday night and next Wednesday night. You don't want to miss this. So thank you to all of our speakers tonight. Thank you for joining us, guys, and let's get ready for an amazing 2021. Have a good evening. Bye, y'all.